Good morning, and welcome to the Alameda Connection on KCSM HD2. I'm your host, Scott Piehler. The job market in the Bay Area has never been crazier. What was once America's ground zero for outrageous hiring bonuses and amazing office perks has become the land of layoffs. As AI increasingly takes jobs from the high-tech sector, there are still areas that are desperate to fill their talent pipelines. One of the organizations helping to fill that pipeline? Your local community college. My guest today is Melanie Dixon, the president of the College of Alameda. From a state-of-the-art automotive program to a hands-on aviation maintenance curriculum that's putting graduates into high-paying, high-demand jobs, College of Alameda is uniquely positioned to address the needs of the workforce and of East Bay residents. That's Melanie Dixon, president of the College of Alameda, this morning on the Alameda Connection. Well, good morning, Melanie, and welcome to the Alameda Connection.
Well, thank you so much, and good morning back to you. Thanks for having me.
As I was researching and getting ready to do this interview, I didn't realize that College of Alameda has a great bit of trivia. The only California community college located on an island.
Woohoo! Yes, and do you want to get stranded? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? We say a great thing to be on the island.
Let's start with the basics. College of Alameda is part of the Peralta Community College District, which also includes Berkeley City, Laney, and Merritt. What's the mission of Peralta, and how does that relate to the mission of College of Alameda?
We're all about access. So, right, community colleges are focused on access. Anyone coming through our door will be served. We meet folks where they are. So there's really passion and purpose and vision really for our district around their vision. And ours is really achieve, believe, and succeed, right? And so really thinking about how individuals can think about a career pathway or just an area of interest and turn that into a potential career, educational journey. So our focus is really around opening the doors to the areas by which we serve, which is the Bay Area here. We're the largest footprint in this particular area. So again, as you mentioned, all the way up to Berkeley, and then we would be the farthest on the other end. And I think our goal is really just ensuring that students have the ability to acquire upward mobility and are able to pursue their educational endeavors and career dreams.
Achieve, believe, succeed.
Believe, achieve, and succeed.
Believe, achieve, succeed. So
yes.
Believe
yes.
in what you're doing.
Yes.
Achieve it.
Yes.
And go on to success.
Yeah.
I like that. What differentiates College of Alameda? If someone's looking at the various community colleges and go, well, I could go to COA, I could go to Berkeley, it's regionally fairly close. So what would bring someone to College of Alameda as opposed to the others?
I would say, access is the thing that binds us all, but we're obviously couched, as you stated, in a very unique community, right? So we're on an island that differentiates us from the other institutions. But I'd say most importantly and probably relevant to students and community is the course offerings that we provide. And so what differentiates us is really predominantly our career education programs. So that would be things like our aviation maintenance technician program. It would be things like our apparel design and merchandising program, or our diesel mechanic program, or our auto tech program. So those are typically the things that define us very specifically. And then all of our institutions, as a part of our accreditation process, offer general education courses that would be applicable to our four-year institutions as a part of a transfer guarantee process.
How many students does College of Alameda serve?
We're hovering at about 5,000 students at our college. And those students can, again, share courses at sister colleges as well, but we would call them our home students. So students that are in our service area and have selected us and designated us as their home school.
What's the breakdown between, say, the traditional college-age student and the non-traditional student?
At College of Alameda, we are predominantly traditionally aged. And so one of the areas that I think we can do much more work, specifically given the age of the residents on the island, is tap into our adult learners and create greater opportunity there. And so that's been a part of our focus over the last year or so, is kind of how do we reach out to that particular audience? What would be their area of interest? So 18 to 24 is our predominant age, and then 24 to about 35 is the other largest group.
What degrees are awarded by COA?
So we have Associates of Science degrees, we have Associates of Arts degrees, we have Associate of Transfer degrees, and those are typically the Associates of Arts or Science, but it's that I'm going on to do a 4-year. So I'm not trying to get an associate and stop and get into the workforce. I'm continuing on. So they have that option. And then there are certificated programs. And so we have things like anthropology, we have things like communication. We're really focused on sciences, environmental sciences, obviously, given where we are, many of our STEM programs. And then we have things that are similar to other colleges. So languages, ethnic studies, more of your kind of general education courses.
Major fields of study, the things that most people would come to COA for.
Yeah.
Where are your majorities?
Biology would be one for
Okay.
sure. It's huge. We have a lot of students that take chemistry at our particular college, but our largest major is psychology.
Really?
Yeah, and our largest degree is liberal arts,
Okay.
right? So it's really kind of a interdisciplinary experience for
Okay.
students across
Mhm.
disciplines, and then that is what they transfer into. Typically, by the time they get to a 4-year, they can kind of pick a major there if they
Right.
chose to, or stay on the liberal arts route.
Where are students who are continuing in 4 years, where are they typically going, or is there a typical they head to?
East Bay is
Okay.
one of the top institutions for us. Santa Cruz is also on the list. Surprisingly enough, Davis, go Aggies, right? Davis is on our list and makes a lot of sense given the ag that students are interested in when they
Okay.
go through the sciences realm. And certainly it's away from the area, but not too far from home
Right.
for our students. So that's really one. And then we have some that go to UC Berkeley and some of the other UCs. UC Merced is also popular.
What are your fellow presidents or administrators saying? Hey, I like students from your school because they are blank.
I think it's because they're prepared, especially in the STEM majors.
Okay.
We tend to get a lot of feedback from our 4 years about that. COA is a community college within the state that exceeds the state average
Really?
of students going to the 4-year institution. We are over the state average, which is about 72 to 75%. We hover above that, anywhere from about 78 to 75%. We stay above the state average as it relates to transfer. There's a preparedness, there's a persistence that 4-year institutions are looking for, especially from transfer students, because
Right.
it's a transition from one institution to the next. So they're looking for students to persist and then complete. So how do they complete? Do they go on to advanced degrees? And for 4-year institutions and 2-year institutions, we also look at where students end up from an employment
Sure.
perspective. And then that determines kind of the effectiveness of our transfer relationship as well.
One of the programs I want to talk about is just fascinating, aviation
Oh.
maintenance.
Yes.
Wow.
In demand, amazing, so much need, and phenomenal faculty and classified professionals, and really, really, really committed and focused students.
Where does one find faculty for aviation maintenance?
Yeah, the industry, which makes it challenging, right? And we are so fortunate to have the faculty members we have, but they typically come from the industry. I'll give an example of one of our classified professionals that kind of keeps our center rolling. Esther, she comes to us from United Airlines. And so she did maintenance on airplanes with United Airlines, retired there, and then came into our system because she still wanted to give back and still wanted to support the field and recognized the talent pipeline was a critical element of that. She came and works at our particular center to do that work. And then our faculty members as well. They've typically come from either the military. So we have Professor Cruz that has done a lot of work with his military background. The challenge for us, though, is like nursing programs that you
Right.
may hear about. The salaries for
Right.
individuals in that particular
Right.
field can be so much that it's not always attractive to come to education. So it takes someone that's really dedicated to their field or their industry, but also very committed to education and community. That's what this particular program represents as it relates to our faculty members and our classified professionals.
And you bring up the idea of a talent pipeline. I would think that eventually the industry would realize that that's a pipeline that they should take a part in filling.
They do. And I think there is a movement in our society right now as it relates to education around where does education take place and who is best positioned to provide the education. And so I think you're seeing with a lot of career education programs, there is kind of this apprenticeship toe that industries are putting in. So getting credentialed to do certifications for students. Bayship does that as it relates to welding, as an
Right.
example. So I think you'll see some of those things. But I think for me, what makes the aviation program so special is there's only 3 in the state.
Really?
And 2 of them are in community colleges and they're really in this region. Solano's one,
Okay.
we're the other one, and the other is for profit. And
Okay.
so there's very limited opportunity within the educational context for a student to have that exposure in this particular field in the state of California. That makes us very exciting and special. But I think it also creates an impaction in that particular program that impedes students' ability to access it as much as they want to. And so right now we're working on expanding our facilities so we can again expand the cohorts that can go through that particular program and serve our area.
And part of that program is actually adjacent to the Oakland airport, right?
It is. That is where the center is located, off-site from campus.
Are you seeing that you're well positioned as we're having a national discussion where people are realizing the importance of the trades and the idea that Claude or ChatGPT is not going to be spinning a wrench anytime soon.
That's right. That's right. We are very comforted in that, and more so comforted that these careers actually offer high wages. So when we think about career education and its trajectory, historically, the potential jobs that you would get outside of apprenticeship, but just in career ed, wouldn't necessarily land to high wage earning jobs or promising wage earning jobs. These do. So our aviation students graduate and they are employed. They're typically pulled
Right.
when they're graduating and they're making $40 an hour for that particular job. There is something pretty magical about a student being able to, one, go to school and be able to be employed in a field that they love in the area by which they want to reside,
Right.
their home community. And that becomes really a difficult prospect for community college students that tend to slant towards the socioeconomic needs side,
Right.
and living in the Bay Area, one of the
Sure.
highest cost areas. So
One of my running jokes that I always have with the trades is that, and with all apologies to English literature majors, no one has ever called an English literature major at 2:00 in the morning and say, "Hey, could you get over here?"
no, not at all. No, at all. They probably should have, though, when they were writing that paper at 2 a.m.
Another great program in the trades, saw when it was opened, your new automotive facility. I have a friend of mine.
Yes.
2 years ago was Napa's Mechanic of the Year. She's amazing. Meg is incredible. And I showed her that picture. I said, Meg, come teach.
Come teach, come see it, come be with us. I mean, we are always looking for partners. That program is so phenomenal. And I feel like I have to acknowledge a couple of the faculty members. They've been at our college for so long. They've literally built this program. Professor Greenspan works in the auto technician portion of the program. So there's a few different programs that reside in that building. There's auto technician, there's auto body and paint, and then there's our diesel mechanic, but also for buses. So we have an agreement regionally where we provide the support for electronic buses. EV buses will come to our institution and we'll provide the support, and they'll support the school districts in our particular area, which is, I think, a great relationship about how our work really is situated and anchored in community. The facility is beautiful. It's state of the art. It's snap on everything. It's all the things you want and you don't want to touch it when you first go in. But more importantly, it is facilitated. The faculty facilitate that space really like family coming and learning. And so many of those students will go into a auto technician program, and then they'll also take the auto body. And so they'll move through all of those certificated programs, which has created, I think, a really great opportunity for students to have a greater net to cast when they leave our institution. But they're learning in an environment that is very much comparable to the environments they would go out if they work at a auto industry that is, you know, a Fortune 500 versus a small mechanic shop in the community, in which many of our students choose to do that too. What the facility offers for them is a real hands-on experience with the technology that they would be touching and interacting with in the workforce if they transitioned in. And so for me, that's really, really important that there's this book knowledge. But when we talk about CE programs or apprenticeship, it's really about hands-on learning. And I think there's something pretty exceptional about being able to translate what's happening in this space in the familiarity that I would experience when I went into the workforce. And that hasn't always been the experience in community colleges. We haven't always been able to afford the ability to provide labs the same way that they would provide them in spaces. So it's a very exciting space. It's our crown jewel right now. And, you know, we're hoping to put the next building up to offer up the next career opportunity for our students.
What people don't realize until they stop to think about it for a minute is that your Prius has more computing power than the Apollo did. And being a mechanic is 10 times more complicated than, I mean, there's a large difference between a Tesla and a 68 Camaro.
Just a little bit. I mean, I could probably change the battery in the 68, certainly couldn't in the Tesla. It's a very advanced world now as it relates to automotive, and I think what students are being exposed to. I think also it provides a skill set that then translates potentially to other career endeavors, right? So when we think about kind of the technology, the computer systems, information sharing, all of those things that are kind of connected to that experience, I think it does expose students to other industries. And I think the reality of it is I may be in the auto industry and that's my dream and I want to be a technician, but I also have clientele and partners that are in mass manufacturing and all of these. So I think the exposure to what those worlds might look like and have a glimpse into kind of how your partners may interface with your work is another element of learning that I think is very, very advantageous for our students.
Let's shift a little bit. A story that was in the news recently. We're going to talk about the athletics
Yeah.
program. First of all, two questions. One, how in the world did you ever get Gary Payton to be your coach?
Yeah, well, I'd like to take all the credit for the Golden Glove. I'll tell you, phenomenal hire, phenomenal recruitment. That was done right before I came. So as I was entering the college, he was already in the process, had been going through the vetting process and was essentially going through HR, kind of finalizing that arm of the race, if you will, to get into the position. So, again, don't want to take
Right.
credit for the fact that he's there, but certainly has been a blessing for the young men and I think our students in general and our college in general. As it relates to the status of it, we've been struggling with our athletic program for quite some time. Post pandemic, we really
Right.
haven't recovered as it
Okay.
relates to our female sports or women's sports. It has been, since I've arrived at College of Alameda, really a mission of mine of how do we figure out how to get our women's sports up again?
Right. Is part of it just endemic to being a two-year institution? Does that add to the problem of an athletics program?
Potentially. I would say that there's that, and then NIL came on the scene, which would be the counter act to that, right? And we haven't really seen what that's going to do in its maturity. Our 4-year partners we have not
That's for
necessarily.
those who may not be familiar, that's the names, image, and licensing. Right?
Correct. Allowing young athletes to be paid for the branding or the things that they do to advance. And so we haven't necessarily had a lot of impact or influence from that particular legislation at our college.
Do you think this is a pause or this is a finality?
Well, for me, the way that I see it is a great opportunity for our district. Our district is going through what we're calling a transformation plan. And this transformation process is really about how we do not, we might need to put another word in, but cannibalize our own enrollment at our
Right.
sister colleges because of scheduling or course offerings. So there's really a thoughtfulness that's happening under Chancellor Gilkerson and, of course, by the leadership of our Board of Trustees that's really saying, let's look across our district and identify what it is that students truly need, and let's schedule in a really thoughtful way that doesn't force a student that really wants to be at College of Alameda to have to go all the way to
Right.
Berkeley unless it's a program choice. It's really important for us to think about athletics in the same way.
Right.
So if I am only competing against my sister colleges, what kind of competition is really
Right.
happening? And are we potentially watering down our ability to compete against other schools because we're pulling the talent in all three directions because Berkeley City doesn't have an athletics program currently. So for us, not a pause or a phase out. It just isn't offered at COA as it relates to us having an athletic director and a full program, but sports for our students are still accessible. We have a shuttle now that takes students from all of our sites, which is something we didn't have before.
The Alameda Science and Technology Institute, which
Yes.
is actually a high school,
It
but they refer to
is.
it as an early college high school. How do students get into that? What is the focus and what's the relationship between ASTE and COA?
ASTE is a part of the Alameda Unified School District.
Okay.
So ultimately, they're connected to our local district and they are situated on the College of Alameda campus as a part of a partnership. My understanding about their process to access that program is it's a lottery process. So where students apply to the program, they have a panel of selections, and then they bring students into that program based on their capacity. And so students start taking classes from us starting their freshman year, but really it's the juniors and seniors that are really immersed into College of Alameda, and they're doing what we call co-enrollment. Co-enrollment really means a student can apply for our college and sign up and take classes, and there are college students in there. It's just an open class they can register for. Most of their students are looking at STEM majors. What is also there is our MESA Center. So that the MESA Center is mathematics, engineering, and science and arts. And it's really a program that is looking at underserved populations, whether that's socioeconomically or culturally or first generation students, and really trying to feed them into the STEM pipeline to diversify the fields. So those students typically are on that pathway, engage with our MESA program. They host dances on our campus, utilize the gyms in the fields for what you would call your typical PE courses. So they're very immersed, and then they graduate with us. And I think probably the highlight or something that is fascinating to many is they typically graduate with their associate's degree before they graduate with their high school diploma. Principal Corbley and I always kind of chuckle about that because it's a phenomenal opportunity, but it's also rare.
All right, let's switch a little bit to the Melanie Dixon story.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Where are you from?
I am from Portland, Oregon.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. You came aboard in COA in 2024. What drew you to College of Alameda?
I was watching a lot of what was happening in Oakland at the time. Examples of that would be some of the suspension rates in the Oakland Unified School District and surrounding charters. It would be the incarceration rates. It would be some of the homicide rates. Looking at some of those things and doing the work that I do that is very much rooted in community and equity. My goal in life, if you were to allow me to live my dream, I'd eradicate poverty. And so for me, I'm very drawn to areas where there feels like at the periphery a leadership void to kind of move through some of these challenging times. And so I was drawn for that particular reason. Chancellor Dr. Tamil Gilkerson, she had done some really great work in this district before as the president of Laney, but most impressively was her work that she did at the state level around basic needs and providing food pantries and housing grants and things that people really need, certainly in the Bay Area. And so when she took the chancellorship, which is a little less than a year before I came, I was like, oh my gosh, she came back and she's going to do some really great work. And so that excited me. And then this opportunity came up and I had folks encourage me, you'd be great. They need your type of leadership. And I applied and here I am.
What's a day in the life of a college president look like?
Oh gosh, it is a lot of loving on students, being a part of their journey and a part of their dreaming. It is a lot of developing and learning from faculty and classified professionals. They stretch a president in a lot of ways. It's a lot of FaceTime with the community, helping them understand that we are committed to service and want to figure out how we partner in a way that's mutually beneficial.
What do you think the biggest misconception people have about community colleges?
Yeah, that it's a subpar education. It's funny, but many students that come through the community college experience show up much more prepared at the 4-year than a student entering the 4-year initially.
Sure.
And I think it's because we have a lot more supports in our system as it relates to academic support, as it relates to hands-on advising and mentorship, as it relates to resources around basic needs and living support, paying for your bills. Our institution is designed because we accept everybody at our door and we recognize folks show up different. And so I think providing that strong footing means that those students are not only starting their educational experience, but they're starting it with a network of support. They're starting it with a level of confidence. By the time they show up at the 4-year, they kind of know the job, right? And so I think the misconception is that it's a less par education. I think the misconception is that only poor people go there or that it's only career education programs. And I think the opportunities are for individuals that like to watch their budgets, which most of us do, is that it is a high quality education for a very low cost to families. For me, what that means is a student can potentially do their last 2 years at a 4-year and be able to have the whole 4-year experience, meaning live on campus and really experience that. If you start at the 2-year, your family is probably more likely to be able to do that without creating a lot of loan debt for students, which is something that we try to be mindful of. So I think the misconceptions is that the teaching isn't as quality, that we don't do research, which is not accurate, and that it is rejects from the 4-year. And it couldn't be further from the truth, quite frankly.
So you took the gig, you're in it. What's the thing that made you say, I did not expect this wonderful positive thing? What's the thing that surprised you?
I did not expect our faculty and staff to be so committed to community. But what I love is the feeling on the island. I mean, I just feel like it's such a small town feel community. I think it creates an experience for students that is accessible, but also not stressful. Like when I think about students that go to a 4-year institution that's huge, that has all these people on it, it's stressful for a student to experience that. And so I think just the vibe, the climate, the support, people showing up and wanting to partner has been very, very delightful for me coming into this space. You are a testament that as well by giving me an invitation to come and share about the college.
So what's Melanie Dixon doing to relax?
So I play poker.
Okay, we need to play.
Okay, don't start that. And we won't be gambling. It won't be for money, viewers. I love nonverbal communication.
Okay.
It is my jam.
All right.
It's maybe my undergrad in communications, but I really love nonverbal communication, and poker allows me to hone in on nonverbal communication in a way that is just super fun. And I learn a lot from people, and it's always different, right? So I really, really love that. I also love reading.
Okay.
I love nonfiction. Fiction's cool, but I love nonfiction. I'm an avid listener to probably any genre you could imagine of music. So those are the things that I try to do to relax. And then, every now and then I squeeze in a massage.
Looking down the road for College of Alameda, plans, what's on the horizon?
Yeah, so this transformation plan is kind of the big plan for all of our colleges. One of the critiques that I got when I first got here is the way that the College of Alameda was built. It really feels kind of like it cuts the community off, right? Everything's in the interior, and it's kind of like, look over there, like, what's happening over there? I see a little sign, but I don't know. So what we've engaged in over the last year and a half is developing a digital signage process.
Okay.
And so this will put a digital board out on the main highway that will allow us to share the events that are in the campus, be able to highlight things that are happening on the island that might serve students that are off campus or vice versa. So it really kind of bridges this gap, I think, of partnership. Also for nonprofits, because I am a fan of, it allows an opportunity for us to be able to use it as a marketing for their businesses as a partnership. So that's really, really important. So that footprint, I think, will really, really help us and let folks know there's life over there, and we should probably mosey on in there and see what's happening. So that's one thing that you can expect from us. You can expect for us to really hone down in on what is our identity within our district as it relates to our programs. And so I don't think you'll anticipate any change around our career education programs. But the question is do all 4 of our colleges need to do world languages? Maybe just one does. So there'll be some shifts in that. So I think what you'll find is over the next couple of years, we'll be really laser focused. And then our messaging to students and community is much more clear around what we have to offer and the consistency of that offering. I think you'll see a lot more community engagement. So we're trying to create a community newsletter and really trying to create this synergy between community and really see ourselves as a living room of the island. Not a college campus situated on the island. And so there is a different approach. So we'll hope that the community feels that shift of really opening ourselves up. And I think being much more fluid with what's happening out in the community. And then I hope what you see is just a lot more of our graduates doing work here on the island where they live, where they were raised, and where they want to spend their time and raise their families. And so I hope you see that too.
Here's the question that everybody on the show gets.
Okay.
You have guests coming in from out of town.
Yes.
You have to take them to 3 meals in Alameda restaurants. Now, they can be 3 meals in one day, could be 3 dinners, could have little bites and noshes. Where are you going for those 3?
Okay. So the first one is so easy for me.
Okay.
Moxie.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been to Moxie?
Oh, yes.
Oh, it is like my home away from home. The food is to die for. The owner is a baker by trade, and just it's to die for. Their menu is always changing. It's exciting. It's fresh. The staff is amazing. It's in a great location. So Moxie would be number 1.
Okay.
I like Cerrone as well. And Cerrone is right by my college. So it's typically my business meetup spot. And again, delightful folks. And it's usually pretty calm inside there. So, you can have some really good discussion and bond with folks in the space. The ambiance is wonderful. And then the other one that I think I would, it's so hard. I have so many of them. Maybe Tabocco?
Okay.
I love their basil martinis. But I think they're a great environment, and I think they believe in community. And so I think we share a lot of the same values. It's just always a nice, fun, happening place to be. And again, the quality of food is amazing.
Website, socials, how people can keep up with what's going on at the college.
Come to alameda.edu for our website. And I would say how you could keep up with us is coming to our webpage. And that can be alameda.edu. It could be Peralta.edu because they have all of our colleges there and post events too. We have an events page on that website, a student services page, and then of course a page that outlines all the wonderful programs that we offer.
Melanie Dixon, president of the College of Alameda, thank you so much for joining us here on the Alameda Connection.
Oh, my pleasure, and thank you so much for the invitation. It was wonderful.
Take care.
Take care.
Thanks again to Melanie Dixon, the president of the College of Alameda, for spending time with us here this morning on the Alameda Connection. To keep up with the College of Alameda and all their offerings, head to their website, alameda.edu. That's alameda.edu. You can also find them on Facebook and Instagram. Just search College of Alameda. They also have a YouTube channel. Their YouTube handle is Alameda College 4076. Coming up next week on the Alameda Connection, we're headed back out to Spirits Alley, but not for spirits. Our trip to Alameda Point brings me to Alameda Soda with Sky Pace, the co-founder and CEO. Sky and the rest of the gang at Alameda Soda understand that soda shouldn't be a science experiment. Their naturally made soft drinks are truly delicious. Me, I am a huge fan of both their root beer and their cream soda. That's Sky Pace, co-founder and CEO of Alameda Soda, next week on the Alameda Connection. Thanks again to the California Historical Radio Society for providing our interview location for this week's chat with Melanie Dixon of the College of Alameda. And thanks to guitarist Bill Hart for our theme song, Beachside Isle, from his album Watch the Sky. I'm Scott Piehler. I'll catch you next Sunday, the Alameda Connection, on KCSM HD2.